Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Cheetah Prime and Mystic Prime here on Metalopolis. Once again, special thanks to the Prime clan for giving me some of their own internal replays. This should be a pretty interesting matchup here between Cheetah Prime and Mystic Prime. We have Cheetah Prime spawning as the blue Protoss player over here at the 8 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have Mystic spawning as the red Zerg over here at the 2 o'clock position. So 2 o'clock versus 8 o'clock, this is going to be a cross spawn, and I really like cross spawns here on Metalopolis just because it opens up for a lot of really more late game units. Rushes are a little bit more difficult to pull off just because you have to travel so far across the map. Now over here, Mystic Prime now creating or training up that Overlord should be getting maybe trying to do the extractor trick to get 11/10. Back over here, we now see a pylon over here on the low ground. So Cheetah Prime going for a low ground pylon, and then perhaps going to set up some sort of forge or gateway here, and then maybe try to do a fast Nexus expansion. Back over here, we finally have another Overlord in the air, training up 2 more drones, and this game is now underway as Daisy, the drone, scouting in the clockwise direction. Back over here, we do see Peppy gonna go ahead and run up that ramp, and we'll see what he's gonna figure out by this particular build. Are we going to see an early spawning pool, or are we going to see an early hatchery? Or not, like a first spawning pool or a hatchery, not quite sure yet. And it looks as though it's gonna try to be a hatchery. And oh, there goes Mystic, and Mystic, will he be able to set it down in time? Oh, yes, he will be able to, because Cheetah did not try to give chase. Back over here, we do see the probe now circling around the inside, quickly realizing that this is gonna be a 14 hatchery. So hatchery now already in play. We should most likely see in just a moment, see another spawning pool perhaps placed right here. But back over here, we now see a pylon being placed down. So Cheetah Prime going for an early pylon, and that's because he has a forge first. So we are going to get some very, very heavy harassment already. So Cheetah Prime now needs to get a cannon. Oh, gets a second pylon there. And now, is he going to be able to drop another cannon? No, he's not going to be able to drop a cannon, and that really is the issue. And now that pylon will just get taken down. He threw down the second pylon just so he could warp in one cannon. And wow, what a mistake there. I think if he positioned the pylon right here, blocked any of the drones, forced the drones to come around this way, he could have put a cannon here and then a cannon there, and that would have been the end of it. So yeah, just that would have been the end of that. However, drones now pecking away at this pylon over here. That pylon will get taken down. However, the minerals lost from the mining is more than that pylon is worth there. Mystic now getting up this hatchery. Most likely will start to be able to train up some queens as well. I do see another Overlord that will be spawning in just a moment. Back over here, we do see Cheetah now getting that early, getting that Nexus. So this is a fast expansion attempt coming in from Cheetah Prime. Cheetah Prime also getting a gateway now. So this is a very, very nice walled off location for this expansion. Only one small position right here to really move in between those two buildings. And if Cheetah decides to, he can put a photon cannon here and even here, and units will have to be forced to run around the back, and that's a very, very strong position. As now we see Mystic trying to start some mining over here on the low ground. 5 drones on the low ground, decent amount of drones on the high ground here, as that probe just still doing more and more scouting. We do see one extractor up, and that probe getting off that creep, so very nicely done. As now we may see some Zerglings try to do a little bit of pressure. There is one Overlord here, and the Overlord now sees that photon cannon is nearing completion. Will those Zerglings be able to get in time? And that photon cannon at 125 hit points, and now going to start taking some damage. Those Zerglings really trying to push through and able to push through. So Mystic Prime able to get probes onto that high ground, and that's going to cause at least some annoyance to Cheetah. Not exactly how sure Cheetah will respond with that. A probe trying to take on the hatchery, not going to work, as Zerglings continue to just push in a little bit more and cause a lot of bit of harassment for Cheetah Prime and his mining efforts. Back over here, one probe may get taken down. No, not taken down, and very nicely microed by Cheetah. Cheetah making sure to click on that probe and then try to have it harvest minerals so it could mineral walk through other probes and then turn around and attack with more units there. One Zealot trying to get 2 hits on any of these units, and now one probe has been taken down. Another Zergling and 2 Zerglings have taken down. So really, Mystic Prime just causing a lot of harassment, and even though there's not too many kills on these units, thus every single time Cheetah is forced to pull these probes off of the minerals, it hurts them even more. Back over here, we now see a more heavily saturated expansion over here. So Cheetah Prime sitting on 29 harvesters compared to Mystic's 37, and Mystic and both of them only doing about a minimal amount of gas by Mystic now finally getting the second gas up, And now we're finally getting second gas up. We may see, so yeah, we're going to go into Roach War. No tier 2 yet. Back over here, Zergling still running out of the range of that Zealot. Zealot trying to chase, but will not really be able to do anything there. Overlord, and now just continuing to mine. All of these off of very, very little production buildings. Cheetah Prime only sitting on one gateway and now getting a Twilight Council, so it doesn't have that many production buildings here. Over here, Mystic continuing to just power drone. It looks like no, and finally starting to train up some more Zergling units. And those Zerglings may be able to do a little more harassment, but this one photon cannon and now a Stalker being warped in. Are we going to get Stalker Blink being researched early at this stage in the game? And is he going to get observers to try to blink onto that high ground? Zerglings with that movement speed now moving out will be able to try to run along this backside, but no, Cheetah Prime has completely walled off his base. There is no way to get in. The only way in or out is through dropping, and those Zerglings realizing that they cannot really push in over here. Perhaps we'll even see a photon cannon here, and that's just going to be a very, very strong position. Also, both sides having double pylons restricting the entrance into the space. So Mystic deciding to take another expansion instead, realizing that the Turtling Protoss player really will not be able to take any additional expansions. So trying to take more expansions and trying to win this game in an economic fashion, and this game does look like it will go long. A fourth hatchery now being laid down. So we have one hatchery down here and a couple of hatcheries over here as well. And let me close this. Yeah, for some reason my computer seems to be lagging a little bit more today. Back over here, we do have the hatchery now about halfway completed. This hatchery will be able to start producing units in just a little bit. Not quite sure why this hatchery is here. Personally, I like to see well, with the creep now and the creep tumors, it doesn't really matter where that hatchery is put down nearly as much. This one queen, however, will not be able to spawn larvae between these two locations, and also going for an infestation pit. So are we going for a quick tier 3? I do not see a Spire yet. I would really like to see some Broodlords in action, as I think Broodlords would be very strong. Cheetah Prime now producing another 4 gateways, also getting the level 1 weapons upgrade. So going into and now going into an 8 gate opening. So 2 gateways on the low ground here, and then 5 gateways, 6 gateways here. So for a moment I lied saying that it's an 8 gate. Now it is an 8 gate. I'm just an Asian who can't count. Back over here, we do have the High Templars now gathering up some energy as we see Mystic trying to... are we going to see some Spine Crawlers? I'm not quite sure what those circles are over here. I think he is, yeah, setting up some Spine Crawlers for defense. You can barely see them in the mini-map right there. I can see it right there. As now Mystic continuing to macro up and get even more and more drones. We do see 42 Harvesters, so Mystic slowing down his production of drones, and that may be a little bit of that may end up hurting Mystic, as now Cheetah has the stronger economy. Cheetah now sitting on a 1500 mineral economy versus the 1200 mineral economy. So Cheetah will be able to macro up a very large army in just a mere moments, also getting that level 1 armor upgrades for his units. So we do have the level 1 weapons upgrade, now going to get the level 1 armor upgrade. I do not see any Stalker Blink or Zealot charge to be researched yet. I'm quite surprised about that. Zealots really want to get that Zealot charge just because it makes their movement speed equivalent to that of a Stalker. Those units will not be able to push through. They're gonna be forced to take down another pylon. So yeah, 2 pylons need to be taken down in order to make any sort of movement out, and that's a very, very narrow choke point as those units are now moving out. We have a 2,000 mineral army for Cheetah Prime versus the 1954 Mystic. And down over here, we're taking a look at the Harvester count now, 49 versus 54, and still continuing to grow. Back over here at the main base, we do see a lot of queens. There are 4 queens sitting here, and no queen sitting down here. Not quite sure why, as we are now getting some infestors as well. Those infestors with Neuroparasite will be able to with fungal growth, will be able to stop those stalkers in their tracks, and then have those Zerglings do a very effective swarm and surround. The roaches do have that movement speed upgrade and are now researching burrow. So roaches now researching burrow will be able to regenerate those hit points very, very quickly. The stalkers will be trying to play whack-a-mole against those roaches. Roaches regenerating, I believe, 5 hit points every game second. 10 if they have that upgrade, and he does not have that upgrade. Roaches also cannot move while burrowed at this time. Ooh, one changeling sitting down over here, quickly getting shot down as the Stalker is now going to move off onto that high ground and quickly find this expansion over here. So units are now going to be moving off from that north and then try to engage. There is one queen. Roach is now coming around. Are we going to... Oh, Psystorm coming in and no fungal growth. Not quite sure what those infestors were doing there. Yeah, there's one fungal growth. Another fungal growth needs to hit that army over there. And the army of... Wow, the army of Mystic Prime just getting destroyed here. Roaches really need a burrow. Yeah, and those burrowed roaches will be able to heal up a lot of hit points. You can see Psystorm on top of a burrowed roach, now able to take it down. But before, that was not possible. Now Broodling's being pulled away, and now Mystic losing his one expansion. So things not looking too good for Mystic at this stage, as Zerglings are going to try to get a good surround on those High Templars. High Templars with that 1.88 movement speed getting surrounded and destroyed. Stalker's now coming in. There are some more High Templars, and now another Psystorm comes into play. So only one High Templar is left in this whole entire army, only down to 39 energy, so will not be able to cast any more Psystorms for a little bit of time. Back over here, we do see the Stalkers and the Zealots continuing to move around. We do have an Overlord here, or sorry, a Zergling here, keeping track of this expansion. However, Cheetah has taken the center expansion, and that is a very, very bold and gutsy move. The Zergling is able to spot it with this high yield mineral location, and now a Zealot will be able to take down the Zergling as well. Back over here, we have some Roaches and Zerglings on the low ground. And with those just trying to protect this expansion, Mystic knows that he really needs to keep this expansion up. Kind of surprised that we do not see an Overlord spawning creep onto this location to try to keep some of those larvae up. As soon as the larvae are off creep, those larvae go pop and die. So larvae are very important to the whole entire Zerg economy, but it looks like Mystic does have a fair amount of larvae around the map, so it doesn't really care about these last two. Back over here, we do see some Stalkers, some Zealots and Sentries with now 5 High Templars joining this fight, and Cheetah will now be able to start saturating this mineral line, as this mineral line is starting to get very, very thin, down to 270 minerals and 335. So yeah, about going down to that last 20%. However, Mystic now being ballsy and gutsy and taking the center expansion as well. And I don't know if I agree with this. It's going to be very difficult for Mystic to really try to defend against this location. He doesn't have enough range units. Those Roaches with a range of 3 are not going to be able to really effectively fight against the Stalker's range of 7. He is positioning them, now pulling away. Most likely this hatchery will get cancelled. And yeah, things not looking good there. There was one Zealot here that was giving sight, but that Zealot has been taken down. And now perhaps the Stalkers and the High Templars are going to move up and try to protect this hatchery. The Stalkers now going to move up and engage against these Roaches here. Are we going to get a fungal growth is the question. Fungal growth needs to hit in. Ooh, feedback onto the infestors. And now Psystorm all across this whole entire army there. Mystic being forced to pull back, canceling that hatchery, and now pulling away with those Roaches. Roaches now currently just burrowed and now able to move. So very nicely, unburrowed for just a second, and now is able to move underground. So able to move very, very quickly underground, and then I'm going to go ahead and try to defend this location as well. So those Roaches are already ready, and those Roaches do have level 1 attack upgrade, so 18 damage per attack. Now getting a Psystorm in, moving around with those Roaches. So Roaches with Burrow trying to use to counter Psystorm, and may work out very well, as these High Templars do not have that movement speed upgrade. Stalkers do not have Blink, so Roaches are going to continue to snipe down more and more units. Burrowing once again, and now moving the low hit point Roach to the back of that army. More Zealots, more Stalkers, burrowing, moving away, and now we'll be able to burrow again. And wow, Mystic Prime opening my eyes to burrow play, and we now have a Nydus Canal coming in from Mystic. So Mystic with that Nydus Canal will be able to engage, and now those Roaches coming into the base and hitting the main production buildings of Cheetah. This is looking very bad, as they all have to come in through this very, very small single file line area as these units now move out. There are double Nydus networks, so that double Nydus network does allow for those units to pop out very, very quickly. Roaches now dealing damage. Stalkers trying to come back in. Are those Roaches going to jump back into that Nydus network and then perhaps try to spawn up over here? Back over here, we also have Roaches now pressuring in and taking down the high yield mineral location. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Cheetah and Mystic here on Metalopolis.